Well, good morning, my subscriber friends. Glad to see you today. Let's go over a few things, shall we? First of all, a couple of big announcements. Joy Reid gone. You probably heard that. Dan Bongino leaving his show, too. More than 300 radio stations to go to be the deputy director of the FBI. That announced over the weekend. So that's big changes in media. Alex Wagner, I think she was the fill-in for Rachel Maddow. She's also out, by the way. MSNBC is... they're hammering everybody because it's a disaster, absolute disaster. Meanwhile, how can you argue with the success of Donald Trump? How can anybody argue with the success of Donald Trump? Here he goes, winning and winning and winning. And what I mean by that, $500 billion coming in from Apple. Tim Cook, the CEO, met with Trump a couple of times recently, and over the weekend at CPAC, Trump says, look, we got hundreds of billions of dollars coming in, and then this morning, $500 billion is the dedication. That's what Apple is dedicating to investment in America, including an academy in Detroit. How big is that for Michigan? Honestly, how big is a Detroit academy for Apple? Now, I'm going to guess, I don't have the details on what the academy means, but I'm going to guess it's a place for Apple employees and people that are going to be working there and so forth to go and learn about what they're doing at the company. So this is all part of the reinvestment into America. This comes after $1 trillion earmarked from the nation of Japan to come here, hundreds of billions of dollars from other CEOs and other hedge funds and other companies to come here, all at the behest of Donald Trump. So while that's going on, you got Steve Witkoff out there speaking to Vladimir Putin for hours. Nobody else in the room, just Witkoff, I would assume translators, but nobody else. Nobody from state, nobody from anywhere. Donald Trump trusts Steve Witkoff. He's the guy that got the peace agreement in Gaza prior to Trump taking the inauguration. And now he sits with Vladimir Putin for hours discussing everything under the sun. And it sounds like there's going to be a peace deal put together. Again, here's Donald Trump. And in addition to that, he's calling in Emmanuel Macron. He's calling in Keir Starmer of the UK. He's calling in Volodymyr Zelensky, who... Strange enough, Zelensky says he will step down as the prime minister or the president of Ukraine, whichever it is, doesn't matter. If it means peace with Russia, he'll leave as president of Ukraine. Of course he will. He's got piles of money. He has lined his pocket with U.S. taxpayer dollars. Make no mistake, Zelensky is a grifter. Zelensky lined his pockets. He doesn't even spend much time in Ukraine. He's in Paris, New York, D.C., London. Yeah. Demanding $250 billion more from the EU right now is Zelensky. Anyhow, so let's stick with Trump for a minute. So he's getting all this trillions of dollars now in investment. You got $1 trillion from Japan. You had $500 billion from Apple. You had hundreds of billions. You're at $2-3 trillion of investment rolling into America right now at the behest of Donald Trump to create manufacturing here, to build the American economy again. And at the same time, all these things are happening at the same time. He's making overtures not just to end the war in Gaza, not just to end the war in Ukraine between Russia and Ukraine, but to end wars everywhere. He's bringing in leaders to say, look, we can have global peace. We can do this. And he's doing it his way, not through the United Nations, not through some treaty deal. No. Saying, look, we need to do this. And so look for the Abraham Accords to expand. Look for the war in Ukraine to end. It's going to. Not everybody's going to get what they want, but it's going to end. And it's going to end under Donald Trump's watch. He is going to be the president of peace. I don't know how you would argue with all these things that he's doing. How could you possibly dismiss all these things that he's doing to make the world safer, to make the world more financially responsible, to make America stronger? Look, the world needs a strong America. Trump knows it. I know it. You know it. That's why you're here. So a lot of great things are going on. Oh, and by the way, more good news. If you look at the Trump effect, it's a global effect. The Germans went to the polls over the weekend. The center-right parties all won. Some would say the AfD, the Alternative for Germany, Alternative for Deutschland, the AfD, called the fringe right to some. They got 21% of the vote. The other Conservative Party got 29% of the vote. So collectively, the Conservatives win, the Socialists lose. The progressives lose. The globalists are out. Same thing that happened in Italy, Argentina, El Salvador. Go right down the list. It's a global phenomenon. Donald Trump wins and everybody else is either getting in line or losing. So a warning to the Democrats. Bernie Sanders apparently taking his show on the road to, fight back against, the plutocrats and the autocrats and the whatever, right? The oligarchs. He's fighting against the oligarchs because they're not his oligarchs. You see, George Soros was just fine with Bernie, but Elon Musk is not. The point being is there's a transformation happening in this country, and it's global. The Trump effect is a global effect. Pretty fascinating to watch. So a better economy, secure borders, ending wars. Which part of this agenda do the Democrats have a problem with? I'm curious. If you don't follow me, make sure you do, but you are the subscribers. I know you follow, but tell your friends they can subscribe here. Make sure you follow me on every platform, whether it's Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, Substack, all of them. Oh, and the YouTube channel. Don't forget that one. We'll have these conversations going forward. And the Dan Bongino effect, we'll see what happens there. That's going to leave 300, 400 radio stations up for grabs with time slots that need to be filled. I'm going to fill some of those. You'll catch me in more places very soon. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for all you do to save America. We'll talk soon.